Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Man of Thoughts. This is Sunday, and this is Bitakula. There's nothing like having culture and tradition serve you after a period of time in your life. Just like the way you have actually tried to serve your culture and tradition for some time in your life, also. There's an announcement I already made, and the announcement is about I and the Enlightened One. Um, I said today we are going to be having an episode, I and the Enlightened One. In our conversation, we'll be diving into culture, religion, tradition, spirituality, and the rest. Depending on the amount of time we have, we will be able to work on this and to just shed light to people's consciousness and people's awareness. And I note that few individuals might not be aware. So I want to make a little clip for people to be sure that we will be coming by 9 p.m. today by God's grace. And today I had certain service and we discussed about religion and the rest of it. And I asked the question, I said, who is your leader? That was the question of the conversation we had earlier today. And I was able to point out to people that most of us we follow blindly certain individuals, which I supported that particular part with certain scriptures in the Bible telling us to be careful of who we follow as our leader. I had to scream, and because I screamed a lot, I'm good at an empire. I screamed a lot in our conversation today when because I was in a place where there was this block industry when I was talking. So I had to loud my voice. So right now, I'm just relaxing myself to build up my energy for the evening program by 9 p.m. African time between I, the enlightened one, and we are talking on culture, traditions, and religion. Trust me, one of the things I want to do is to make sure that subsequently every Sunday I I touch about relating the Africans back together. So regardless of the fact that I started that subject last week and certain individuals promised that they will be joining live and people reached out kind of, but I was yet to see people who are going to be dedicated to the conversation of how the Western people would love to come to Africa and for some of them to share their experiences. Let us discuss on this so that Africans can also see where they get things wrong. But we can always start all these things by conversation. If you're joining me right now on live, there's somebody who joined me who says, Cletus Jan 12. He says, are you doing okay, Jalang? And then you ask if I was a Filipino. I never knew Filipinos can be brown. I'm dark. I think the only dark people are Africans, but I could be wrong. Not lately I heard that Jamaican and Africans are not really the same. And I'm like, why? We are blacks. So what's the difference? Sometimes everyone have due to history and cultural stuff. I learned that. So every of this particular platform that I have discussion on is solely just to be able to expand my knowledge and to expand the consciousness of people. Consciousness does not mean you actually know the reality. Trust me, you don't necessarily know the reality just because you're conscious. You can be aware of everything around you, but you might not have certain information that humans participate with. And Tana Empire is laughing. He says, yeah. Can you explain to me why you laughed? Why you were laughing? Izim LLC, hello. I can remember Izim LLC. I think I've seen. Okay. Many places have African looking people. Oh, that's true. That's true. Like I said earlier, that I just also figured out the issue of Jamaican and you know, it's funny. Okay, Izim, you asked me about herbs the last time. You see, any of my audience who writes to me, I can always recognize you whenever you write. I can recognize your name. I may forget the discussion. Herbs. Um, if my wife is on live right now, please tell me shell butter. That was what she told me. It was shell butter. When you're talking about the skin, right? Izim LLC, you were saying what kind of cream can you use on your skin to make it something? Yeah. So they call it shell butter. So there are many things that are being produced today in today's world that are kind of terrible also. But you never wrote back to me. Yes, shell butter. That's exactly what I use. In fact, I think, oh, this is how it looks like. This is exactly how it looks like. Oh, you can't see it, but I just have little here. I take from the one in my children's room and I use it, and that's what I use. So it helps the skin. You just have to, yeah, just shell butter. Like this. This is what I'm eating right now, right on my bed. And I know most people would understand this is bitter cola. It's an LT what do they call it? Caffeine. If you're taking if you're taking tea and you're taking that tea because of caffeine and you're like, oh, I feel a very bit high, I feel high and stuff like that. If you really want to feel the real original caffeine, take this with bottled water. Yeah. You take this is what we call bitter cola. It is from a plant. It's from a tree, sorry. And there are much in that particular stuff. You open it, not exactly this one, but it looks something like this, but it's very big. Then you open it, you have this. When you take this, nobody would explain anything about caffeine to you. You would know exactly what a real caffeine actually look like. You want to have night vigil and you don't want to sleep, you just want to be awake, just one of this is okay. So these are organic things that are created by nature. And the problem we have today is that we are focused so much to chemicalize every organic things in the name of production. And let me even ask a question. Do you think that most of the Westerners who produce this chemical stuff, I think the reason why they had to fall into the idea of chemicals is simply because most of them, their lands cannot produce this particular things. So what they try to do is to refine it, to have the same experience, but to refine it. Just like the way they talk about crude oil, they take crude oil from people and then they refine it and they sell it back to the country and they have a lot to themselves and they separate it to diesel, kerosene, and the rest of it. So when I hear people take caffeine and the rest of it, they are trying to reproduce these particular herbs, which is the real caffeine herb. But please, I wouldn't want you to forget something that by 9 p.m. today, African time, we will be having a deeper discussion. Those who haven't subscribed, oh, Cavalry King, you're live. Hello. Hello. Her. Today was not a little battle between Canary King and Rusty. It was like did they call it Clash of the Titans? Wow. I'm so happy when I see you guys. Sometimes, there's this barbaric thing about mankind. We love to see people go at it. Do you imagine yesterday? Yesterday tends to be Saturday, and people paid money to UFC. For those of us who watch martial arts or mixed martial arts, you would see about UFC fighting and the rest of it. And you see, you have to ask yourself, why do we sometimes like people going at each other or fighting? Is there something interesting about it? I'm trying to understand why we humans just love it, regardless of the fact that we advocate against domestic abuse, against violence, we talk against aggression and all those kind of stuff. Yet we have our money and we go pay people to see them fight. And today we were talking about a few things about religion and belief and the rest of it. I was still commenting on the subject. And then I got a message that I have to go down and see what's going on. I was still on a different subject talking. I never knew I made a statement that prompted Canary King and Rusty to go at each other. When I would scroll down, blood of God, it was war. War was already going on in the church. For those of us who did not join, oh, you missed a lot. It wasn't a 5 hours ago, about 5 hours ago or so. It was war on live stream. There was war everywhere. Wow. You know, part of the conversation we had this morning, I could remember. You see, why I had this was because I used to get them occasionally, but I had some visitors. My eldest sister got married traditional marriage yesterday. So I was the last born of the family, but I'm the first son of my father. You got it right. But they call this bitter cola. I have the big one and I have the small one. This is bitter cola. This can be called cola nut. So I hosted them, and I was the first. I'm the last born of my mom, but I'm the first son of my dad. So I met with some of my brothers and sisters that I haven't seen for over 24 years of my life. I saw them, and we had some discussions. But yeah, there's somewhere I'm going. Out of the visitors who came to my house, and I had too many visitors everywhere. One of them came, and this particular individual loved talking about the word of God and the rest of it. I'm like, okay, I've known him to be that. You don't want to take your life serious and you want to keep preaching the gospel. I have no problem with you. Yeah, trust me, it's good. Every organic thing is good as long as you do them in a moderate way. Like I was saying, that particular individual came and he told me that the estates where I live currently is 500 acres large. 500 acres large. And this person came to me and he said, God told him to tell me, I have been in this estate for more than, I was the first landlord, the first human being that moved his family into the estate. So I've been here for over 6 years. And this man told me, he said, God asked him to tell me that we should walk around the whole estate and pray. I have been in the estate for 6 years and I've not even walked 50 acres of land. And he asked us to trek, that God says he should sprinkle water everywhere. I told him, I said, okay. I said, sorry, okay, there's no problem. He kept insisting that God asked him to tell me that we should walk around the whole 500 acres of land. God did not tell you the size of the land. I told you the size of the land. That the estate is 500 acres. You have not even witnessed it. And now that I told you there's 500 acres, you are now telling me that God asked me and you to walk around because he wants to pray for me. Do I want to buy the estate? That being said, I told him, okay. He said, what time? I said, let's wait around 5:36. That will be okay. When I realized the time was 4, I went to see one of my neighbor. I went to have a meeting because I had a lot of people who I have to relate with, and I had to go and meet that one. I stayed there till 8 in the night. When I came back to my house, because I host visitor, this same person told me, he said, let's go out and start the prayer. Then I came up with a different lie. I said, the securities of the estate, we have serious securities in the estate. They would have dispatched the securities, so we can't work. And then he told me the next morning. The next morning, I've been in my house for over 6 years now. I can't even remember when I clap my hand and I sing and I praise and I pray for 30 minutes. And I know him long time ago that if he wants to pray, he pray for like 3 hours. After we hospitalized them and we did hospitalizing, like we take care of all our visitors here and there, we could not sleep. We slept very late at night. Early in the morning around 6, this individual woke me up again. He said, God said, let's us move around. I was like, the security would not allow. And it got me wondering, like, I know these things are garbage in, garbage out. It doesn't freak me. It doesn't change anything about me. I just know These are the kind of lies I've lived in the past that this individual is trying to traumatize me with. God said this, God said that. And trust me, if it were a lot of people, just because someone came with water and he says, God asked me to do this and God asked me to do that, you will go out of your way to please a man who just came to a place because I think he doesn't. It's kind of related. I'm being careful with what I say. Not because he will see the video, but I'm just like, in Africa, how do we become people like this? How do we get to this kind of mentality? To become so much, being used by all kinds of people in the name of we are trying to seek for the divine, to God. Yesterday he told me, he said, he wanted me to do something for him, and I said, okay. He was outside, after the whole occasion, everybody was going, we are done entertaining, and the whole marriage stuff was as ended. This individual said something. He waited outside. I saw them waiting for me. I went to a different place. And then my wife told me, okay, these people are waiting for me. They just want to see me. And then he asked me for something. I said, okay, don't worry. I'm going to do it for you for free. And he said, God said he should hold my hand and pray for me again. Right outside the estate, this man held my hand and he started praying. While he was praying, I was just laughing. I was saying it in my heart. If I had not make any decision to give you anything, God will not talk to you. But right now that I decided to do something for you for free, you just told me instantly again that God asked you to talk, pray for me. And he held my hand outside. He was just praying. I was smiling. It's like, the reason why I was smiling? I was smiling because I was asking myself, this is how this individual would have most likely be doing to a lot of people. Because if they have been calling him out to tell him, like, guy, you're lying, or if God is sending you, let God send you whatever He wants to send you. Don't disturb our life or stuff like this. He most likely wouldn't be participating in stuff like that. But because Africans, we have so much welcome all these things. We welcome them so much. And they say Africans are confident. But I ask myself, how confident are we as Africans? We are confident to boost ourselves to claim that we are Africans. We are confident to tell ourselves that we are the strongest people on earth. Maybe physically dominant. Yeah, you say most Africans are. We are gifted by certain things. We are confident to tell everybody that African is the richest parts in the world. We are so confident of many things, but when it comes to the truth sometimes, and we know that someone is lying to us, Africans don't most times call out the bullshit. When people bullshit around, you rarely see Africans call out the bullshit. They encourage bullshit, and that's why bullshit is much in Africa. If you're looking for one of the best country or best continent where you can see a lot of bullshit, go to Africa. Come to Africa. I did not say go because I'm in Africa. Come to Africa. You will see too many bullshit. And I think that is what is holding us back. When we see a governor or we see a president or we see someone saying something that doesn't make sense, we have to think first like a group of people before we say certain things, because individuals are scared that if I express myself and the rest did not support my idea, then that means that I would lose favor in the sight of my people. There's that fear. That fear is inside most Africans. When someone speaks and you know that person is lying, when someone is fumbling with their words or saying things that are not true, Most of us know these things, but we begin to look at one another eyeball to eyeball to see if we all agree on the same thing before one person or everyone will be able to speak. And that is the reason why there's a lot of bullshit in this country, because when we did not see eye to agree, those who can perceive the lies would not say anything. And when you don't say anything, you allow that lies to trickle, not from one generation, not from this particular group, but it moves from generation to generation, from generation to generation. And we have people like those pastors who are lying, Laila, Hilalai, Muhammad Rasulullah. That's excessive lies. Maybe he was trying to scam you, or trying to James Golden, or trying to do something spiritual to you in a sneaky way. For those who knows me, they know I'm spiritually inclined. You see, to be spiritual, first thing you have to do is that when you get to a level of spirituality, you see that you cannot be boboed. When I use the word bobo, it is a statement from an African language called this man they call Anikula Kpokuti, Fela Anikula Kpokuti. Bobo simply means lie, sneaky lies, lying. You cannot bobo me with spiritual items or spiritual perception or spiritual. No one can. They are supernatural things. And I cannot lie or tell anyone that, oh, I know supernatural powers or I know. No. I'm limited to certain information. See, when someone tells me that God wants to do a miracle in my life, I am not interested in God's miracle. I have never and will never be interested in God's miracle. I am only interested in God's principle. Because God's miracle make me lazy. You know what's principle? Principle simply means knowing the truth, knowing the season, knowing what to do. For me to be able to get this bitter cola, for example, we have to plant a tree. And when we plant the tree might take about 6 years for it to fully mature. And when it gets to 6 years for it to mature, it begins to bear fruit. Then you can start feeding on it. Now, there are times and seasons that it doesn't work. There are certain seasons that you go to the tree, you are never going to get it. Just the same thing applicable to orange, the same thing applicable to a lot of things until we get to the age where they begin to fertilize a lot of stuff. But there was something I meant by it. If you understand the principle to success, if success is what you want, then you should understand the principle is for you to work hard, work, not hard work. Because hard work or work hard is a slavery mindset. No one can tell me, as I am now, that for me to be successful, I have to work hard. No. I'm not going to work hard. That's a lie. That's a mentality that they sell to slave. When a rich person wants you to be enslaved, he asks you to work hard. So you would be thinking that one day you will get as rich as your boss by working hard. But when you look at the rich people, you ask yourself, what hard work do they do? So once you understand the principles of God, if you understand that the best way for you to become healthy is for you to eat healthy, is for you not to abuse your body with alcohol and negative things, and you are eating in a healthy way, you're taking the right water in your body, you're doing everything in a proper way, you most likely will be healthy because That is the principle that God has set in life. When you don't consider what you eat and you abuse your mouth and you abuse your body and you eat anything and you drink anything, and then those things begin to subside into something negative, then you start seeking for miracle from God. Life will be a stupid life if God was a magician, or if life is about miracle. Life is about principle. The principle that has been set by nature, everything would fulfill. Those people who fall the prey and the trap of most pastors do fall simply because they expect miracle. And that was what our conversation was about today. And my call is this: I am not Jesus who is trying to save the world. No. I have not even saved my community. How will I save the world? I'm not trying to do that. My interest is to make Africa heal in a little way that I can. I know it's going to take a lot. I know sometimes I do not have all the resources, but I have a gift in my heart that I feel, okay, I want to work upon this. But for us to make Africa heal, because there have been a lot of damage within ourselves simply because we cannot open our mouth to tell each other the truth until we have what we call group thinking. And group thinking is one of the things that make African where it is. You know, it is funny that certain people, when they protest and they say they want to cause revolution and the rest of it, I laugh. Revolution. You guys gather yourself, you destroy everything that has been built, and then you start from the scratch. And then you say, yes, now we are having our country in our hand. No. You were so ignorant long time ago that individual, all of you could have done something in a different way. And collectively, you would have fixed whatever has happened between your continent or between your country and build things upon whatever it is. But you would be quiet until when the problem now affects everybody. Then you guys hit the drum, the beat of war, and then you start fighting. Wow, going after the leaders, destroying everything in the country. And when you destroy it, you think you have peace. It is a matter of time. You will go back to war. Or another group of people will come and the circle will repeat itself. If you don't neglect what you are supposed to do in life, there is no point for revolution. If everyone are doing what they are supposed to do, there is no point for revolution. When you hide in your shells, everybody hide in their shells, and they are murmuring and they are complaining, and no one can come up to speak up the truth, and you keep doing all of that, then one day you just say, I have enough. Maybe a lunatic. Like, what did they call this man? This Russian man that bombed a lot of places, or German, Adolf Hitler. When one Adolf Hitler come out of you guys and he says, let's go and take our future in our hand by destroying everything, then you guys will now play the drum and then you move. In a nutshell, if people were actually speaking of the truth that this religion during those times that it was coming to Africa, this thing is not part of our culture and tradition. So, and besides, I believe and I know for a fact that our ancestors, majority of them, knew that the religion was taking the culture and their traditions away. In fact, in the history of Fela Anikulapo Kuti, the mother of Fela Anikulapo was telling the father to allow Fela to do something else. Let him go to school. Because then if you did not go to school, if they think that your son are not doing what they are supposed to do, they might take advantage and hurt them. And then the father of Fela Nicola, which was Ransom Kuti, was one of the people who started going to the British and started, singing hymns and the rest of it in the language of the Yorubas, all because of fear. It was Fela, when Fela grew, he learned about the system, the law in the British and the rest of it, and he came back to his father's land and he saw the reality of what has happened in his culture, and he said, I am not going to support what my father did. I was going to continue the voice of redemption of my people. And in his way, he was saying, be careful, all these religious people are fraudsters. All these religious people are scammers. You knew your traditions and your culture, and no one could manipulate you for a very long time. We have had an experience, and this experience has taken some of our ancestors' life. Let us look inward. But a lot of us, we failed. And right now, we are paying the price as Africans. In fact, I asked myself a question. How do I even know Jesus? I was born. As I was born, before I was even 8 months old, I've been taken to church. I've been baptized. I thought during that time when they baptized Jesus, they even baptized Jesus when he was 30 years old. After God called Jesus out of Egypt. After God called Jesus, yes, out of Egypt. And John the Baptist baptized Jesus. At least he was 30 years old. It was Jesus' choice to go baptize. I never knew how to crawl. I never knew how to speak. They've already baptized me in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Ghost. Same thing is what has been done to many African children. We never understood our culture and our tradition. Our parents has ran to the church simply because they were trying to be safe or they don't want to die. And they took them to the church. And before you know, a lot of them go to church so long that they don't even know how they come to the idea to believe that there's God or there's Jesus or they don't even know. And in fact, they hold on so much that Jesus is going to save them and there's a miracle coming their way. And Canary King was pointing out to something this morning, but it was because the conversation was not going towards that angle. But I saw his point. Canary King was saying, one of the things I used to tell people that one of the ailments that is wrong with the Africans is what we call the Jesus Christ syndrome. Jesus Christ syndrome is a white supremacy syndrome. That means when you worship Jesus, most times subconsciously, the only thing you see is a white man. And that means there's an hero that is coming to save you one day. When you look at your Google and you type Jesus, what you see is a white man. When you type the devil, what you see is a black man. They have psychologically damaged a lot of us. And right now, we are in the world of information where everyone can learn, where everyone can liberate themselves. During the time they came for our parents, for our ancestors, they had to come with chains and the rest of it. Yes, our ancestors, our leaders during those times sold part of our parents out, sold a lot of their people out. It wasn't as if the European and the British just came in and they invaded the whole place. No. Africans sold Africans out. It wasn't as if they had so much weapon that they could defeat us. In fact, the culture and the tribe of Igbos, Yorubas and the Hausas fought with the British to overcome the Igbos. I haven't seen what animals eat another animal. Chicken. There are this kind of top chickens, they call them cockerel. Cockerel chickens. They easily eat each other whenever they are hungry. Like, how do we get to those kind of mindsets or set mind that Africans were fighting against other Africans? But mistake has been done by our ancestors in the past. In fact, I always tell people, Nigeria, for an example, we don't have this country. They gave it back to us. We've sold it out with mirrors and umbrellas that they used to give to us. We've sold out the whole country, sold everything. Right now, there's nothing much to sell. We are still selling our crude oil. We are selling the future of our children. I will tell you guys one thing. As I began to do something on YouTube, when I started, I got to 1,000 subscribers and I got to 4,000 watch hours. And YouTube said, they said, should they pay me in dollars or should they pay me in naira? So YouTube says I should open a domiciliary account for them to start paying me in dollars. Or if they have to pay me in naira, that means my fund will be little. That was what YouTube says. That if they will have to pay me in naira, they will remove some taxes. But if they have to pay me in dollar, I will make more money. Guess what I choose? Somebody guess what I choose? Maliko Sondaya. Well, for me, I chose naira. Certain individuals got in touch with me. They're like, you should just open a domiciliary account and you'll be making the money in dollars. And I'm like, that's exactly why Nigeria gets to where it is. All our politicians, all our leaders, they sell all our currency out. At the end of the day, they just want to be on dollars and dollars and dollars and dollars. I cannot be the one to make a change. I can give my children the mindset to understand reality. I can speak to my brothers and sisters who have ears to listen that see, do not praise the ideology of anything that is beyond your ground. I am an African. I am not proud of what we are doing, but I'm proud of the blessings and the gift that God has given to us. When I talk about God, not that God you are going to church to serve. That's not the one. The miraculous God, that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the source and the divine within every man. He has given everyone different portion of places for them to flourish as people. I understand that if we can utilize the soil that God has given to us, African would once again be one of the richest places in the world. Now we only know, Africans, we only know that African is rich because of what the Western people are coming to take from the land. Every day, Africans complain, we are the strongest, we are the richest, our soil is the most fertile land, we have the this, we have the that. The question is this, what are we doing with what we have? We are not doing anything. We have lands everywhere. Everyone is in Lagos. And they start lying on insurgency, this insurgency, that insurgency here, insurgency here. Like everywhere is insurgency. Well, I pray as Africans that, and when I say I pray, when I use the word I pray, it's not your church or your religious prayer. That's not what I'm doing. My prayer is I wish. That's what I mean. Not that I'm requesting from God. God, please help Nigeria. God cannot help Nigeria. God cannot help Africa. In fact, if there's that kind of God that a lot of religious people are even thinking about, what makes you think you will be so concerned about your country with the billions of people on earth, with the billions of the things that are happening? In fact, during the time that religious people actually existed in Africa, it actually worked for them to say God is the creator of heaven and earth. They never knew there were other planets. Tell me that Moses knew that there was other planets. So, if there's a source of creation, which there is, what happened to all other planets that had been created? There was a time when I was in school, they were telling us that we had about 9 planets, which is Jupiter, Pluto, blah, 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 Mars, everything. Right now, the story has changed. It's even more than that. So all the school I went to then, that I thought it was 9, now I realize it's even more than that. So if God is busy creating everything everywhere, why will he be so concerned about Africa? The ones that don't want to use their brain? We have to wake up as people. And for us to wake up as people, we have to wake up individually. So if you are opportuned and you are blessed to come to my life or to be part of my audience, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Because subsequently, everything I say and everything I do is to make sure that I raise question, I make you become a seeker of the truth, not a believer. In fact, if I would have a law, perhaps I want to have a law. My law will be, thou shalt not be a believer of anything, rather be a seeker. And for those people who joined me live this morning, I make it and I state it clear. Regardless of anything I say, do not believe what I say. Belief is a mental acceptance. Whenever you believe something, you can never question that thing. If you tell me the sky is blue or the sky is green, and I believed you and I was lying on my bed, why will I stand up from my bed to go check outside? I already believed what you say. This is the reason why most religious people are being manipulated. When you believe a pastor tell you that bring your hands, God asked me to hold your hand. It even got to a point now that some people will say, God told them that somebody is going to travel out very soon. Why is God saying all those petty things? If God is the God of creation that you're talking about, the religious God most people talk about, and they say, yes, God just spoke to me that somebody in this church is traveling tomorrow. Somebody in this church will be traveling next month. What the hell is wrong with Africans? God did not speak about your country. God could not speak about Africa continent. God cannot speak about your nation. God cannot even speak about your local government area. God just went to the individual. He didn't even see what to say. He now say he wants to travel from Lagos to Abuja. He will be entering aeroplane. Like God, why? God cannot be involved in those petty talk. If you truly believe, if you think that God is so big, why should a big thing talk about a small thing? No wonder some of them will now rush and enter the plane. They think it is the prophecy of the pastor that is coming out. Before you know, the plane will blow. Boah! End of Solomon Grandin. Born on Monday, Christian on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took in on Thursday, died on Friday, buried on Saturday. That is the end of Solomon Grandin. Ah! So zombicious. We don't even question what we do. We do it because habits is the most easiest thing for us. You know, Africans are the ones who wants to only benefit, just want to be on that kind of habitual mentality. Once they are focused on this kind of habit, it makes life very easy for them. They don't want to transcend their consciousness. They don't want to ask themselves, these things we are doing every single day, look at the result of our life. Are we having the result we want? If we are not having the result we want, then we have to change the way we do our things. But no, they still go to the same church every Sunday. I asked a question earlier when I started Sunday service in the conversation we had this morning. And I asked a question. I said, what was African tradition prior to colonialism and after colonialism? Sundays, Africans always walk. In some places, not everywhere. In the Yoruba tribe, for example, Monday, for those who always go to Oshun, Mondays were part of the days they go to celebrate. Yes, they have what we call festival and the rest of it. But there was a dynamic to the days they decide to go to the ocean to worship the ocean or whatever they serve during those time. In the Ogun, they had their time during the week. We were people and we were functioning peacefully. The problem we had is that Africans became greedy at some point. It was greed that brought us to the position where we are. Greed, greed, greed. And the second part is hatred. Hatred. You want the best for yourself. You don't want the best for the another person. In fact, I see so many people who go to church and they keep praying, God, kill my enemy. God, destroy my enemy. And Jesus said that, you know, when I was in jail earlier this year, when I was in jail, I was telling those people when they were preaching, I was saying, I don't pray for my enemies to die. I pray that my life is an inspiration for my enemy to change their ways. And some people, you know what they held on to? Suffereth not a witch to live. Kill every witch. Kill every witch. And you forgot that your mother might be a witch. You forgot that your father might be a witch. You forgot that your sister might be a witch. You forgot that you want to kill everybody. I don't blame them. They were in jail. But the same thing likewise to those who are in the free world. Most of them still have the same mentality, thinking that killing witches is going to help them. Now they've prayed for 5 years and they kept killing witches. And I asked them, since you have been killing all the witches in your father's side and your mother's side and in your friend's side, in every aspect of your life, have your life developed stagnant life? Yet you are killing witches. Africa, most of our religious people, I call them witch hunters. Witch hunters. If the way they hunt after witches is how they hunt after antelope, they will have food in their house. They will be able to feed and take care of their family. They will not go to the bush and hunt after antelope, but they will go to church and hunt after witches. Die by fire, die by fire. Madness on a different scale. You know, I said something the other time. I was like, you see, these Africans, the people who colonized us, we need to give them award. We can't just start taking award for best musicians, best actress of the year. No, Africans need to give the British and the Europeans, we need to give them award for colonizing us. You know why? They've done a very good job. Generation after generation, the mentality is still that was so perfect. Like, the best thing to give these people is something to believe in. We're about to leave them, but if we can give them a belief system, we have them in our pocket for life. What can we give them? Give them Christianity. White man is Jesus. Superman, bam. What do you got? The devil is the black man. For you to be able to see Jesus, who is the white man, you have to repent of your sin. So repenting of your sin, that means you will never revenge for anything we have done to you in the past. Okay, put that one. Then they carried the Bible. They started tearing the Bible apart. Out of the old scroll of the Bible, they begin to debunk it and start looking for stories that will fit. And then they gave us the one that fit us. No, I see when Christians says, open to the book of Genesis. And then anytime I hear pastors say, open to the book of Genesis, I say, idiot. He's an idiot. Because if you actually understand the scroll, I'm not talking of the Bible, I'm talking of the scroll. If you understand the scroll, there's nothing like Genesis in it. If you go to the lost book of the Bible, you will see the first book of Adam, the second book of Adam and Eve, the third book of Adam and Eve, the book of Joseph. I can't even finish mentioning them. The extra evangelist of blah, 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 Titus, the lost book of Enoch, all kinds, the book of Joseph, Jesus' father, his story. Jesus, Christ Jesus in infancy, you will see all those documentation. You will see everything. There's no such thing as the book of Genesis. Genesis is not in the scroll. You are not reading the scroll of Moses. So all of you that carry Bible, you are reading Bible, yes. The Bible, even itself, when it's been interpreted, there were Aramaic versions of the Bible and the rest of it going from Hebrews, Greek, Aramaic version. Whenever they see faith, which faith simply means you have to walk after something and know that it's going to work out. That means you plan and you work and you desire for it to work. So that means when you pray, you should have faith. They would remove some place where you are supposed to put faith. They will put belief, because words mean a lot. So when you tell people to believe something, belief is a mental acceptance. When you accept something mentally, you cannot question it. Then they begin to put all those things. Wah, 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 wah. Good news. From good news passage of the Bible, which Bible itself, even after it was removed as scroll, and they now have other stories, they call it the little book because they pieces it. Then they call it the Bible. Now, we would not ask ourselves any of these questions. In fact, 99.5%, not even if not 99.9% of Africans who are going to church, they've not still read Genesis to Revelation. These same individuals have read chemistry types of textbook, all kinds of chemistry. They go to school, textbook in the first class, second class, they read another one, third class, they finish another textbook. They read all kinds of textbook in any institution they find themselves, but never the one that kept them captive, the religious book. They don't read Genesis to Revelation until their pastor asks them to open. That's when they open it. Then the pastor asks them to read what suits his own narration. That's when they read it. Then the pastor lie. Lie, Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Excessive lies. That's the meaning. You know the reason why I will stop conversation for today? Majority of people who have watched me, only 5 people liked what I have been saying. So if over 110, 120, 130 people can be live with me, and you people are not showing love, you are not showing like, you are not doing like, maybe I should leave you a little bit so you be in the hands of those pastors who are going to extort you. Keep paying tax. Then you are holding your government responsible. When you pay tax to your pastor, government collect 3% or 2% or 5%, your pastor is collecting 10%. Maybe we deserve what is happening to us. You ain't really liberating yourself. How many likes am I going to have? I'm rounding up. Later today's evening by 9 p.m. African time, I'll be having a live video with no one else but the enlightened one. The enlightened one. And I don't know the perspective he's going to be coming up with. So I want to see his view. Though me and enlightened one, we always see things almost eye to eye on many subjects. But at least we will disagree to agree on few things. Let us share insight. Let us reason as people. Unlike all these, everywhere you go on podcast and you go on social media, everything is about twerking. Twerk. If they are not twerking, it is religious lies. If they are not twerking, it's religious lies. Musicians acting like crazy individuals, dancing to the devil. Africans holding on to a religion that they can't question. Thousands of people going to see one man telling you that God sent me to you. He said there's a man here. Okay, now let me even try one prophecy for all of you here. There is somebody in this audience right now that I can see from my screen. The spirit is saying it. 3 days ago, there's a money that just got into your account. You received some money you have been expecting before. Yes, you received some money you have been expecting before. The spirit says you should join membership. And for you to be able to progress and move to the next one, join membership of my platform and donate, have some super chats and thanks or super stickers. Just put it right now online. How can 1,000 people, you people that are even 95 here, that I can see on my screen, I know you might be up to 120, but even if my screen show 95, 120, 130, 150, is there nobody inside you guys that would have received money about 3 days ago? And then I call it a prophecy. And then he say, the Lord says, come outside right now. And you guys will start rushing to the altar. Father has called us. The pastor is seeing vision about me. Bullshit. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I'm closing for now. I'm giving you 1 minute for those who haven't subscribed, subscribe. Those who think that I deserve to be shown love, I don't even need it. I will only tell you what I think. You like it, you did not like it. I will ask you to like when I know that, okay, we want to dive into some kind of stuff. Like me, not like it. God has sent an angel. He's knocking at my gate right now. Subscribe right now. Who is there? Ah. In fact, it was my friend, my neighbor. He came to check on me. We have closed church service for today. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Hope to see you by 9 p.m. African time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.